Well, howdy, we are visiting once again with Ronnie Wilson, Hopkins County Master Gardener, as we do from time to time. Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning to you, John.
Well, we intended to talk about this last time, but we ran out of time and didn't get around to it. Ronnie usually picks a plant of the month to talk about, and in this case, he has picked an evil plant of the month.
Well, I watch the news and read the paper and listen to the radio, and I'm afraid some of that negativity got into my gardening. So we picked an evil plant this time.
We are referring, of course, to poison ivy and poison oak, the bane of all gardeners and anyone that works out in the yard or on property and is out there cutting the weeds and so forth. So first of all, distinguish between poison ivy and poison oak.
The leaves are shaped differently. The poison oak has more of an oak leaf, like you'd find on an oak tree. The poison ivies are pointed at the end, where the poison oak could be a little more rounded.
I see. Would they grow though in a similar fashion,
yes.
Same place,
yes.
basically?
Mostly in the shade,
yeah.
And you'll see them climbing trees, fences, telephone poles. If they grow along the ground, it can get up, to a foot, 18 inches tall along the ground. But it's generally always in shade.
Yeah. Well, now everyone says, as you write here, the leaf patterns are the same with one main leaflet from the stem and two leaflets on opposite sides just below the main leaflet. Now, my wife tells me that, Tricia, and she spots it just immediately. But for whatever reason, it is always still difficult for me to discern it. That three-leaf pattern, a lot of things sort of look that way to me. So is there any other way to identify it?
Well, no, you just look for the three-leaf pattern.
Three-leaf pattern.
And if you're sensitive to it, that speeds the educational process.
Yeah, well, I have gotten into it before.
Now, one plant that looks similar is Virginia creeper, but it has 5 leaves. So it's leaves 3, let it be. Leaves of 5, let it thrive. So.
Say that again.
Yes. Leaves 3, let it be. Leaves of 5, let it thrive.
So it's a plant that we're happy to have, or may very well be happy to have. What's it called again?
Virginia creeper.
Virginia creeper, but has a 5-leaf pattern. Well, now another thing you do mention here is that in the summer, there's some red at the center.
It's a very small amount where the leaf stem touches the main vine. When the 3 leaves come together, right at the very end of those stems, it'll be just a tiny bit red.
So that's another thing that could help to identify it.
It is.
Yeah. And then you say in the fall, the leaves do turn red.
Yes, they will. Wintertime, they're bright red. In the fall, it can be a yellow leaf with green or red veins in it. It's really pretty in the winter. I mean, it's bright red.
Is it still?
Oh yes.
Still harmful.
All parts of the plant contain urushiol, which is the ingredient that's an irritant to humans, and it's in the leaves, it's in the stems, it's in the roots. So whenever you're dealing with this plant, you need to make sure you wear long sleeves, gloves, don't wipe your face, don't scratch your nose. And you can even get the urushiol on you from your dogs. Dogs don't seem to be bothered for it because they have a heavy coat.
Right.
But your dog goes out in the woods, he comes back and you pet him.
Right. You said also if you burn it, if you burn the vine, that the smoke is
That's
toxic.
Right. That way it gets in your lungs, and then you have a worse problem.
Oh dear! Wow. So there are herbicides that you can use to kill.
You can use chemicals that contain 2,4-D or glyphosate.
Those are pretty common, aren't they?
Yes, very common.
Right.
Just look on the label and it'll tell you what's in there.
Right.
Now, at one time, I haven't seen it for a year or two, but Roundup made one that was Roundup for woody plants.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look for herbicides that affect woody plants, you have better success on poison ivy.
Okay.
With regular herbicides, you may have to spray it a couple of times.
I see. So you do say that if you do get into the poison ivy or the poison oak, if you can get to the bathtub soon enough, that you can do yourself some good by
Yes.
just as
My
soon as you can.
dermatologist told me that the urushiol acts kind of like super glue. It gets on your skin and you have 30 minutes to an hour to wash it off. I shouldn't say wash, I should say scrub. Scrub hard.
30 minutes to an hour.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I know we're having problems with that. A lot of people are probably seeing it right now.
Yeah.
We've maybe got a minute or so left. We are really, anybody who's mowing grass right now, especially if you've got more than just a small yard, you've got a task there,
yes.
don't you? I mean,
grasses love this rain we've had.
Oh.
And the weeds too.
Well, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two, but boy, it is really thick and lush, and it's hard to get through it.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad to see all this greenery and you go hit it with the mower and then you just wait a few days, it'll grow back.
It sure will. All right. Ronnie, thanks for sitting down having a second cup of coffee.
I enjoyed it.
Good, great. Ronnie Wilson is Hopkins County Master Gardener. I'm John Mark Dempsey. This is KSST.